cost 3 times as much as this new little vehicle that was a private venture that had come along called the Land Rover. By 1955, we shipped the idea of having a particular home use to the vehicle. So, and it was a very costly. So we ended up buying into, you can see them going round now, the Land Rover, one of those peculiar little post-war British ventures, looked at by Rover. The chassis regime starts building with materials. Again, that's another one that we sometimes forget. Britain post-World War II were bankrupt. We don't have much in the way of money, and we don't have materials. You know, rationing goes on into the mid-1950s, Britain. So when Maurice Wilks looked at building the Land Rover, he was purposely doing it using material he knew was available. Steel was still, in essence, rationed. So he uses aluminium, surplus from the aircraft industry. We're not building ever, and we start by having, at one moment, we had a Jeep in service in the early 1950s. Lots of post-war Jeeps still going from the Jeep. Now we see some other vehicles going around. The cavalry vehicles and the rock vehicles. Not with the Scorpion, the light tank on the back there, but the crane on the back of the vehicle and the whole of the flatbed can be levered off and dropped onto the ground. So that you can do that relatively quickly. Which, if you imagine, if you're dropping off palletised ammunition, you don't want to be hanging around too long in the danger zone if you're in a softened vehicle. So being able to do that quickly. We were withdrawing from Empire, but we still had commitments around the world, sort of placing troops places. Could we fly them out there quickly? Places like Malaya. We gave it a bit of punch to the 76 was done, and the only engine that was passed was the engine from the Jackal E-Type sports car, and so that ended up a petrol engine there, just on the right side to put down. But we also needed wheels for the economy. Traction wheels, often like they're in competition, they both have features that make them suitable for certain types of operation. Wheels tend to be armoured cars in the Second World War. Not a great success. Its off-road mobility was pretty rubbish. Pretty good on the road. Wasn't that good in that way. Wheeled armour, something Britain was actually pretty good at in the Second World War. America less so. Not interested as much as Britain was. So we had, it's mentioned already, we had the famous Mark II with the current property brand machine gun. And you can see the driver at the moment driving down, the little hatch is open, so you can see how it comes under fire at all, those hatches close down, and he looks at the glass periscopes or whatever he's, wherever he is. To the end, the army has now got a trial out, request out for replacement vehicles. There's all sorts of things are being suggested. Toyota things. The big issue with so much of the defence children, they've got to learn the lesson of not putting off the thing there. So the budget can actually provide Now other vehicles going around, we've got there with the Swiss flag on, that's one of the new bearings there. The whole family of vehicles again built in many countries. Switzerland ended up, looks like it might be built again you can see the high out frames on the top. And we've got some of the Fodens, Scammels, Flats, Wonderful independent suspension going over the mound. relatively sandy coloured ferry road is now driving around there the preservation service with the special forces. But you can see the use there again. They would strip pretty much everything off that vehicle apart from to a number of companies. Post World War II, we were in competition. France started its arms industry. America gave away a lot of industry around Europe. But when it comes to foreign stuff, it's Britain, the market, French marketplace, we're trying to sell the Centurion tanks and later on good international sales with CDRT still in operation around the world. The idea there is we funded into one fuel policy. Obviously, the standard diesel is harder to set on fire, so it gives you a little bit more time to get out of trouble if your vehicle catches fire. And also the obvious other one, if you've got a one fuel policy, you can't put the wrong fuel type in your vehicle and ruin the engine. Now you know that causes major arguments in civilian life if someone goes and does that to a family car. Imagine what your NCO is going to say to you if you put famous American supply vehicles, GMCs, post-war Judos, mobile they are and how fast around the place, made in the Soviet Union, and lots of those if you build the T-72 tanks in Poland or those built in the Soviet Union or Russia as it was. So again, lots of bikes going around the place. Bikes used for all sorts of reasons by the British military in the Second World War and the First World War. The idea road crossing capability. As in Afghanistan, Iraq, they were being sent out in large numbers, and even though like things like the Royal Wessex Yeomanry, they're on Challenger 2 tanks, they will be the force. Should Challenger be used in conflict, they're the ones that will be whipping out there and resupplying or supplying crews to the three